My name is Melanie Harwood, and I have come up with this idea so that we can start sharing best practice and creative ideas to really move into the next era of recovery, because we have this amazing curriculum out there, and we've got an opportunity now with schools, with what's happened with COVID-19, how to recover emotionally and how to recover every aspect of our curriculum moving forward. And we are very lucky today to have Emma Barber from D-Grade, Simply Bottles. You can see she's got everything behind her. No missing a trick there. And I'm going to hand over to Emma to introduce herself and her company to you, and then we're going to dive right in. Hello, Emma.
Hi, thank you very much, Melanie, for having us. My name is Emma Barber, as you said. I'm Managing Director of D-Grade, and we've been running a program here with the schools based in Dubai called Simply Bottles, where we run a free outreach program to really educate students and teachers and parents about the benefits of recycling, how they can recycle, and then what we do with the plastic that they collect for us. So it's been a great program.
Now, Emma, we've had some meetings in the last few weeks, and over the last few months we've been communicating, and our passion project, which is a side project to our Harvard Education Learning Portal, is Educate Global. And Educate Global is a not-for-profit organization to deliver sustainability and climate change learning globally. And you approached me and said, how can we start a program to teach schools, teachers and schools, to recycle plastic? Right. Because the plastic is out there. Yes, we want people to stop using plastic, but how do we recycle and bring in that plastic that is already in the system so that we can remanufacture it and start learning more about it so that we can combat it? And your idea was to partner with either a sponsor or a global brand or a government to create teacher training. Now, tell me what you feel would be the best way for schools to start getting on side to learning about this. What do you think is the way forward?
Well, I mean, we've been running the Simply Bottles program now for 3 years. We're coming into our 4th year. So there's quite a lot of precedent for what we've been doing, and schools can easily sign up. You know, it's free. They can just get in touch with us, and we can enroll them on the program. We've got 2 wonderful full-time staff running it for us, outreach with the schools, communicating with the schools. We provide a lot of information. We give lots of information about how to collect the plastic. You're absolutely right. We're not advocating the use of more plastic, but what we're saying is the plastic that's being used, let's recycle it. Let's not, pretend that plastic isn't being used, because we know it is, and let's recycle what's out there. So we're trying to make the schools feel comfortable, especially now when they're being told they can't use the water fountains and the water filters, and they have to use plastic bottles. Let's be comfortable to do that, make sure that it's being collected, and we're the ones that can partner with you. So it's very simple for them to join up. We can provide a lot of content, but really what we want to do with you is make that content a little bit more organized and professional, and really sort of something that we can grow and build on and give some more structure, I think, to what the Simply Bottles program's been. We've been a little bit ad hoc, lots of great information, but I think there could be definitely some more structure around that.
I know that with us, what we did with Educate Global was Denise and I, we came up with a concept of a climate change teacher course. And we were totally wrong. We thought that we only needed 1 in every school. But as we've developed, as we've trialed that concept, we've never expected so many schools to come on board. So we launched the very first iteration of the climate change teacher course April 22nd last year, and 329,000 schools in more than 40 countries signed up. So it was actually, we were overwhelmed by the amount of schools that came on. But we've now honed it, because we know that we need, in every school, we need a hierarchy. We need a triangular system where we have the head teacher, driving it all. We have that sustainability and climate change lead, and we have their 5 support team members. And then as they develop, they build more of those structures, those triangular structures, so that there's not just one person who feels that they are doing all the hard slog and pulling all the heavy load behind them. What we would love to see with Educate Global and with yourselves in partnership with you is creating that design and technology sustainability lead teacher, because I think this is where every D&T department could deliver that all-important plastic recycling, plastic reusability, plastic sustainability program and learning, because there's science involved in this. There's STEM, there's biology. I had no idea, Emma, that there were different kinds of plastic. I mean, how stupid am I? You know? And I was thinking,
you're not alone.
So, I mean, in an ideal world, do you think that it would be a massive module, or would it be sort of broken up into small modules that we could easily onboard those D&T teachers to come on to learn about the science, learn about the technology, and then look at ways of mitigating and adapting? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, it is a big piece of work, and there's a lot of information. But what we've found has worked best with Simply Bottles is that we've had a green ambassador, whether that be a teacher or somebody that one of the green team leaders, somebody like that. And what they've done is they've tried to incorporate some of the information that we've been giving them into some of their lessons. So it hasn't been huge. I think that we could do small modules. So I think keep it small, keep it interesting, keep it fresh. And every level of school, whether it be the littlies or the older students, they'll need some kind of different level of information. So when they're coming into school and they're first learning about it, they can learn through maybe some animated videos that we've got. They can learn there's different kinds of plastic. They can have fun looking for the number on the bottle. But as they get older and as they're coming up through the ranks, they'll want more information about the chemistry behind the plastic, how it can be recycled, what does a polymer mean, why was plastic created in the first place. So I think that there's lots of different bits, but I think they're all small pieces that that will slot into the different levels through the school.
It's almost like you're putting together the pieces of a puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's only when you start researching plastic that you join the dots together, and you just think, oh, that works there, that works there. Would you advocate that schools start plastic collection systems, their own services, where they bring the plastic into the school and they start the process of recycling it? Or do you feel that that is best left to professional agencies and groups? What are your thoughts on it?
We are that agency, so we are collecting plastic from the schools. So we can either help the schools by providing the bins. We provide the bin liners for free anyway. But what we also have done is we've done some great challenges where the kids have made big cages and collection points. And in the last school year, we collected 2 million bottles from the schools, the Simply Bottle schools. So we need that feedstock, as we call it. We need that plastic. So we're absolutely advocating that if you're a Simply Bottle school, you need to collect plastic, get the kids from bringing it in from home, become a community centre for your local community so they can drop the plastic off. Let's get that plastic, stop it from going to landfill. Let's get it recycled. We'll come and collect it, and we'll recycle it. So yes, we are that agency, and we want the schools to collect. We don't want them to just be a Simply Bottle school and pay lip service to talking about plastic. No, let's actually do something. Let's collect it and let's recycle it.
Now, what do you do with that plastic, Emma?
We turn it into a polyester yarn. It's quite a tricky process, but it's a very green process. There's a huge global demand for polyester, whether it be in your school uniform, your gym kit, your backpack, your cap, your lunchbox, whatever it may be. And at the moment, all of those products are being made from natural resources, from virgin polyester. All we're doing is repurposing the polyester that's already in the bottle. So we use less energy to do that, we use less water, we produce less carbon emissions. So it's a green process. We're not using any oil, which in this region is, well, all around the world, very important. And we're just saying, instead of procuring in the traditional way your uniforms or your sports kits, you've now got a sustainable procurement option. If you want to, you can go down the route of using the plastic you've collected and making school uniforms out of it. So that's really closing the loop for the schools and really showing the children that if they're a little bit anxious, what can I do? You know, what can I do to help the planet? Collect your plastic, we'll recycle it. And then when you're coming to buy your sports kit, your backpack, whatever it may be, make a sustainable choice.
Now, you've been based in Dubai in the UAE.
Yeah.
And at the moment are you only based there? Is this only for Dubai schools, or can we start spreading this out with if we can get partners on board to help us fund a Simply Bottles Degrade initiative in every country? Would we be able to do that? What are the processes?
It's definitely scalable, Melanie, that's for sure. We're already talking to the guys in Saudi Arabia, which is a 30 million population. So they have 35,000 schools and 5 million children at school. So yes, so that would be our goal, would be to scale it out to that. But of course, you know, we can run it with partners all over the world. Why not? And we can bring the plastic into the UAE and process it here, or ultimately one day we will have to have processing plants in many other countries.
Yes. So if there's anybody out there listening to this or watching this virtual summit today, or listening to it on our podcast, you can most certainly get in touch. And if you would like to sponsor a school anywhere in the world to be able to do this, we would love to hear from you. And we will give you the details at the end of this talk. Yeah. Emma, I wanted to ask you, why did you do this? Why did you create this?
Well, in this region, there's a huge lack of awareness about recycling, and there's a huge problem with plastic pollution. We're the 4th highest per capita in terms of using plastic in the world, and there's all of it, pretty much all of it is going to landfill. We know there's 10 million bottles a day being produced here, and almost all of it's going to landfill. And it's such a waste of a resource, because we see the PET plastic as a resource. It's polyester, it can easily be recycled. Huge global demand for polyester. So we really wanted to do something here that would wake people up. The Simply Bottles program isn't just run with schools, we also run it with businesses to try and educate adults. But the schools program has been incredibly successful. I mean, we've got the best part of 200 schools on board here. We've been talking to children now, as I say, for coming up to 4 years. We've done incredible competitions, challenges, activations. We've had children that have repurposed plastic into the most incredible new products, and have been really excited about, you know, getting their parents involved, making the school the best Simply Bottles school. So we saw the opportunity and we took it, and the Simply Bottles program has just been, you know, just a phenomenal success for us. We've been very lucky with the support.
Incredible. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, what I was thinking when I first met you, because we came out to Dubai in November last year, and I'll include the link. We were very, very lucky that the Guardian newspaper did a visual feature, and they came with us. It was myself and the Director of Education, Jan Parnell, from Education and Children for Hammersmith and Fulham Sovereign Borough Council, and a head teacher, Sally Brooks, and another head teacher, Taran Mbeg, with this Guardian visual features team. And we met you. I think you're even in the, even in the feature, I think somewhere. I think you're in the meeting. We've got photographs. We will share those with you. I will share that link with you. And back then, our mission was an army of Gretas. But the world has changed.
Yeah.
COVID-19 came along, and that entire mission, it still stands, but it's almost like it has been thrust forward at a rate of warp speed into a far bigger, far more reaching direction. We found that schools during lockdown were contacting us saying, right, we want our schools to be Educate Global Awards schools. And we've got this opportunity now. We want to be prepared so that when we go back to school in September, those are the UK schools, we want to be delivering these initiatives and projects immediately. And I've never, ever seen an explosion like this in my life before in green education, environmental information. The demand from the head teachers has been immense. One of the projects that I'm busy building as we speak is one of the schools in Dubai said to me, our year 9s are doing the economics and we want you to give us the introduction to the green economy. And I think and then they've come back and they've said, right, well, our year 5s and year 6s are going to be doing the very same courses that our teachers have done. So I'm just thinking, okay, all right, I'm there, but there is an explosion. There is something, there is this thirst and this hunger to change the way that we've been teaching, the way that we've been learning, the way that we've been delivering. So for us to put together this design and technology, sustainability specialist lead teacher with this plastics knowledge and how to recycle and how to build a Simply Bottles initiative for their school as part of their Educate Global Award, bring it on. I mean, when you contacted me this week, I was like, that's amazing. What a great idea. Because I can see this going absolutely everywhere. And I would love for businesses to get involved, to sponsor schools, to sponsor the initiative, to help us. You know, I mean, our schools, if you say that businesses are collecting their plastic waste, then the schools can be collecting the plastic waste from the businesses and be the collection point for us to generate the content that you are hungry for. You want the content.
Yeah, we do. We need that plastic. We want to get it out of landfill and into our factory to be recycled into useful products. We're not asking anybody, or we're not saying to anybody, buy something that you don't need, or that you know that's excess to requirements. The schools need uniforms. The kids need gym kits. You know, everybody, all of them are using a backpack. So why not buy them made from sustainable fabrics, which we've collected the plastic here, we've closed the loop, and this is all going back to that circular economy, talking about the year 9s, the green economy. This is such an important part of that green economy. So it's crucial, yeah.
Emma, what is the process? How long does it take from point of collection to converting that plastic back into the material that you want, to making that uniform?
The schools can start collecting from day one, and we'll start collecting from them as soon as they're ready for us to come in and collect their plastic. We have a plant in Abu Dhabi which processes 1,000 tons a month. So all of the schools' bottles just go into this process. We obviously audit what we collect from the school, so every school knows how much they're collecting, and they get certificates for the amount of plastic they've collected. So their plastic goes into the big feedstock, goes through the plant. Once we have the flakes extruded into fibre, the fibres turned into yarn, and the yarn's knitted into fabric. Once we have the fabric, it really depends what people want. I mean, a t-shirt can take a month. Let's say 1,000 t-shirts made from the fabric, is a month's work, something like that. It really depends what they want and how they need it. We carry stock fabrics, or we can make bespoke. It depends what they want, but it's not a huge long process.
Okay, I was watching a program on TV here about what happens to your waste, and it was fascinating to see that they were going and looking in landfill sites from more than 50, 60 years ago, and they were going down the layers and they were finding polyester skirts, and they were saying, look, this clothing, it doesn't break down. Yeah. So what you're saying is that can you recycle the plastic? It gets made into clothing, and can you recycle the clothing again?
Yes, you can, absolutely. So we can keep that plastic out of landfill for a long, long time. So all clothes can pretty much be recycled. People tend to just throw them away, and a lot of clothing that's thrown away there's nothing wrong with it. And there's a lot of people out there, needy people around the world, who would be extremely grateful for that item of clothing you've just thrown away. So I think the first port of call for any clothing is the local charity that is clothing refugees and people in need. So that's absolutely your first step. With the polyester clothing, yes, it can then be downcycled. So it can be turned into stuffing. Most car manufacturers now are using recycled polyester in the stuffing in their car seats. It can go into making furniture like sofas. It can be turned into rugs, carpets, and drapes. So once it's been a skirt or a top, it can then have a second life as filling in your furniture. But I really would recommend that people do think about donating clothes to charity rather than throwing them away. It's so easy to throw it in the bin. And even if it has got a hole in it, there will be somebody out there who will be so glad for it. So we've got to be much more careful in our buying decisions. Buy less clothes, absolutely. Buy better clothes. The better quality you buy. And polyester clothes, by the way, can be extremely good quality. Spend a bit of money on your clothes, wear them as long as you can, look after them carefully, give them to charity, and then they can be recycled.
Emma, what motivated you to go into this direction? What was the deciding factor for you?
Well, my husband started the business. He's been in manufacturing his whole life. About 10 years ago, he made the decision to only do sustainable and green fabrics. So that was a really important turning point for him, because there's just no point like making virgin polyester when there's so much polyester already around in the bottles. So he was on a big drive to do that. I had been working in retail, working in clothing for all my career, and when I saw what he was doing and saw the success of some of the campaigns and thinking about how we could really drive Simply Bottles and make a difference here in the region, it was an easy decision to leave the corporate world of retail and come in and really try and do something on the ground to make a difference, to educate the children and the adults, and to really try and repurpose all of that polyester that's just going to landfill. And it's tragedy. It's tragic that that's happening. So my motivation was to try and help. To do something worthwhile, and I'd been in a very polluting and the retail environment, as we know, it's polluting and badly paying, and there's a lot of worker welfare issues around the whole fashion industry. And yet we all need to wear clothes, and of course we need uniforms, we need all of those things. So how could I do something that was in a industry that I love, but that was actually doing something in a positive way, not just churning out, a million more £20 dresses that are going to go straight to landfill in 6 months. That's what we don't want. So it was a number of those factors that added up and made it sensible to do something to try and make a difference.
Emma, we've heard a lot about co-anxiety.
Yes.
And now we are experiencing this post-traumatic stress from COVID-19, from this lockdown, and a lot of children being cut off and working from home online digitally. But humans need interaction. How do you feel that the collecting of plastic could galvanize a movement to get those people talking again and communicating and feeling as if they are empowered? Do you think it would help for this to negate some of that anxiety?
Oh, definitely. A lot of the anxiety is coming from feeling helpless. When you feel helpless, you feel anxious, and you feel scared and nervous because what can I do? What we're doing is we're providing a very practical solution by collecting the plastic and challenging whether it be the houses in the schools, whether it be inter-school competitions, whatever it may be, by getting these little communities, school kids, classes, or even schools themselves, collecting the plastic, doing something very practical, and then seeing that it's actually being stopped from going to landfill, it's being recycled, they're conserving resources, oil, water, electricity, all of those are being conserved when we make the recycled polyester. They're doing something that they have control over. And once you have a little bit of control, it will help your anxiety, and it will help that nervousness. And it will also, you know, we hear children saying, why would I go to school when the world is burning? Why would I go to school when the deserts and the seas are covered in plastic? Well, we're going to help you do something about that. Go to school, learn something, and do something, take some tangible action. And I really do believe the children that we've been involved with, we've seen a fire, we've seen a spark. You know, some of the competitions and challenges I alluded to earlier, these children are inspired, they're excited, and they are, you know, they're excited about the future. They're looking forward to it. What can we do that's different? How can we change the way things are going? So yeah, I think for sure it's part of stress relief, anxiety relief, and doing something practical.
What I'm looking forward to is the new inventors that we are going to be developing, because these children are going to be learning about the science, the biology, the technology. They're going to see the results of what they're collecting and where it's going. And I can't wait to see the explosion of ingenuity that will happen as a result of that. Because it's always interesting, once you learn about something, you come up with new ways to deal with it and deliver it and design it. And that is going to be exciting for me, because that
absolutely agree.
Action.
I completely agree. There's so much talent. It's unbelievable. You know, we're blown away time and time again by just how creative and you know, ingenious the children are when faced with the challenge. We repurpose this plastic into something useful. It's incredible. I mean, you can't. These competitions are a nightmare because you can't judge them. There's too much good stuff.
What was interesting in Vijaya Kumari Satyan, she's the principal, we call them head teachers, of the Westminster School in Dubai. She's one of our earlier talks in the virtual summit. And she spoke about how the school had not used paper during the lockdown. And she worked out that in just 3 months of the school being closed and everybody being online, that the school had saved more than £3,000 on buying paper. And she worked it out to be 80 trees that did not need to be cut down and turned into paper. And
it's so tangible.
I loved how she worked out the saving, financial saving, and she'd worked out the environmental saving. So it was like a match the stats. I love it. We just had a talk with a lovely lady called Joanna McFarlane, who created a program called Wild Planet Explorers. And she has, within her program, she has these match the stats. And I can't wait for the children to start creating match the stats exercises with their bottles, working out how much money has been saved, how much of the environmental impact has been minimized and mitigated, and the adaptation of that product into something valuable and viable for another market. Now that, for me, that's going to be incredible. Every single aspect of what you are doing is learning. And that's where the recovery is going to be coming into play in a very, very big way. I'm super excited. I cannot wait to be delivering D-grade and Simply Bottles collection points in every one of our Educate Global participating schools around the world. And they are everywhere, and they are, it is growing exponentially. We are scaling up at a massive scale. And I don't know, I'm so excited. If anybody has listened to this talk and would like to get in touch with us, or would like to sponsor a school, or would like to be involved in this initiative, please get in touch with us. Our email is support@educateglobal.org. Now that is educate with 2 C's because it's climate change in it. So it's support, SUPPORT, at Educate Global, educateglobal.org. This virtual summit has been sponsored and fully funded by Educate Global in partnership with Hammersmith and Fulham Sovereign Borough Council in London. Every teacher and school that takes part will have free, full access to the Hammersmith and Fulham emotional training for your head teachers and teachers. It is absolutely free. It is part of theirs and our gift to every school in the world to help you with your recovery curriculum and to help you with your COVID-19 emotional recovery strategy. And as part of our global citizenship outreach, this is our gift to you. I want to thank everybody for taking part. If you feel that you have an amazing talk to deliver, please get in touch with us. This is just the beginning. And I want to thank Emma Barber from D-Grade and Simply Bottles for joining us. And this is just the beginning. We will be doing more talks on this with Emma in the future. We're going to be bringing head teachers and pupils and sponsors and schools and all sorts of people that are going to be participating in this project, and potentially even the Saudi education ministry that are potentially going to be sponsoring thousands of schools in their country. If they can do it, your country can do it. So we look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.